Using the power of agents in SharePoint to access authoritative documentation. Hi, my name is Mike Giannotti, and I'm a technology specialist in Microsoft's Healthcare and Life Sciences group. And in my workings with different individuals and organizations in healthcare and life sciences, I find that oftentimes there is a need to get to authoritative documentation and to extract information they need from that. That can be, in a clinical setting where we're talking about authoritative documentation around various pathologies and the prescribed processes, procedures, protocols, and treatments. It could be in uh, a pharmaceutical group or whatever that's dealing with project management. But typically, orgs have large repositories of documents where search no longer helps. So, by way of example, let's take a look quickly at this particular area. And I'm in here in documents in a pediatrics care site. This could just as easily also be, a pharma that has a project management or a medical devices company that has project management or any area of IT. It could be corporate architecture, et cetera. But we're here in this particular document library, and you can see we have documentation around both COVID, and I've marked the pathology ones in blue so that we could see that. One is COVID documentation, and the other is RSV documentation. And if I open that, you can see we have a lot of documents in here. And with all these documents within this particular library, search looking for a particular piece of information can be difficult because I'm looking to get specific information around something, and having to go and search through means not only either search and then opening documents one by one and perusing through them, or browsing through here and again opening them one by one, copying and pasting information as needed. But what we can do with Copilot is ease that work. So what we have here, you can see I've actually created an agent. We'll come back and look at that in a moment, but then I've exposed that agent via a simple hyperlink on the page. Access the COVID and RSV agent. We also have a little news post here about that, but this enables a clinician, in this case, coming to this site to simply come here, click, and get this Copilot agent available to them right front and center. And you can see we have some suggested prompts. What are the best practices working with a patient who has COVID? Create a COVID FAQ based on the files in the COVID documentation folder. Create a detailed summary of the diagnosis and treatment of RSV. So this particular agent spans both those libraries. I'll show you how we do that. We'll build an agent just to quickly take a look at that. But here I can go on, and let's say I wanted to create a COVID FAQ. Very simple. I just click. Of course, I could have free typed my own query in there, but now that I've done that, it's going to run across all the documents, in this case, in the COVID documentation folder, and now it's building an FAQ based on that. And so here that is. I could then iterate on that. I could ask it to provide more details around the diagnosis and treatment. So let's say provide more details in the FAQ around diagnosis and treatment, right? And I can submit that. It's going to go back into the library, look for some additional information combing through, and then it's going to regenerate this particular piece. Great. I can see it's going in, it's doing all this information for me, and I can already see it's going longer than the last one went, right? So it's providing more information taken directly and restricted to the contents of this particular library, right? So I've got that. It also has the references for each piece to the document that it's getting that. So I see, one's coming from this particular one. Here's another document. Here's a different document. So in building that, I have my references built in. But what if I now wanted to provide that because we had people who English was not their first language in our org? Well, that's simple. I can come in and say, translate to Spanish. Go ahead and submit that prompt. And now it's going to translate the FAQ that we've just generated into Spanish. And I can do this for French, for Italian, for German, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a great way to go in and quickly get the information I need, generate content that I need for use and reuse by myself and my colleagues, and all at the tip of my fingers. Now, how did we build such an agent to allow this activity? Well, that's the beauty of it. So let's go ahead and we'll close this particular agent. Notice though I do have a share, and this is I do love this, I got to say. Copy link for Teams. I could now share this within a chat within our Teams, right? So I could share it with a colleague in a chat so they could leverage the agent. I could share it in a conversation in a Teams group that we have. I might want to use it elsewhere, but the point of it is with this link for Teams, I can keep that conversation in Teams and not bring it out. Or I could simply come in and share it to individuals. They'll get a message around that. I can copy the link and then drop it in email or whatever. So, and I can even, if I have permissions, which I do here, manage the access. So that's the agent, but let's take a look at what it took to build this. And you can see we already have one here. What I'm going to do is we'll walk through this. Well, actually, what we'll do is build one from scratch. So here you can see if you have permissions to edit this library, I do have this create an agent because I'm also authorized to create agents. So I'm going to go ahead and select that. Just that quickly, it's already created one. This agent is now active, and it says it is the COVID documentation agent. This agent is based on these sources, COVID documentation. Now we know the last one also had the RSV folder, but we'll see it's pretty easy to change that. So I'm going to go in here and select edit instead of open. I'll go ahead and select edit. And here's where I can change that name, just like we saw previously, where I had the COVID and RSV agent. So I could change that here. I can also change the description of it. One thing I do love is test this agent. In all the views that we're going to see, I can test what we have in real time. And you'll see it has a welcome. It has some suggested prompts. We'll see where we can change those in just a moment. But here's first the identity that I can adjust. Sources. Remember, our last one we had 2 different sources, right? So I can absolutely do that from here. Here you can see it lets me go in and I could add by SharePoint site. I could add a site title or URL and start to search and grab, whole site or grab just a library or not only libraries, just a folder, which is what I've done in this instance, or even individual files. Think about that large document you have that's, 30, 40, 100, 200 pages long that has all this content that you have to sift through. Maybe it could be a process document or whatever. You could identify that individual document and have it reason across that and pull the information out that you need on the fly and bring it right front and center for people. But what we did in the last one was we added the RSV. So I'm going to go ahead and say add the documents. And right away, it's showing this particular library. Now, notice I can actually back up and look at other things here, but I'm going to go ahead and just stick to this because I see here my RSV documentation. I could drill into it and pick a particular document. I'm not going to do that. We're going to go ahead and just select the RSV like we did last time. Say select, and now it's looking across both of these. So we're going to have the agent reason across both. Next is behavior. That is where we change that welcoming message, like we had one that was custom tailored last time for welcoming clinicians in there. So this can be whatever you want. You just go ahead, you type it. It's going to, change this on the fly. So I'll just say welcome clinicians. There we go. That's the only thing I'm going to change here. And on the fly, it's changed it over here. Again, the beauty of the test this agent, everything's changing as we go. And it has the suggested prompts. We are allotted 3 for agents in SharePoint. So I can go ahead and let's just change this one, create a FAQ um, based on the files in the RSV documentation folder. Oops. Remember last time we had in the COVID folder? Now we've changed the RSV one. It's already changed that here. And then it has instructions like what kind of tone do you want it to have, etc. Now I can certainly test this. So let's say I wanted to check this here. We'll go ahead. I haven't saved any of these changes yet, but I've gone ahead. I've made some edits and I'm able to get it. There we go. And it's building out. Look at that FAQ. It's still building, building, building. We'll let it finish. There we go. And you can see here, we have, certainly here it is, frequently asked questions, FAQ on respiratory syncytial virus or RSV. And then it goes through. And then I could, again, go through and check things. It has, again, the references, so I can see direct links to the documents. It's pulled, and that's what people will see. When I'm done, I simply click Save. And then we'll close this. And now it's going to open it up on the side here for me. And there we are. So now we have this COVID documentation one. By the way, we see that here in the library. And so now that's available. And then right from here, I can go ahead and I can get that link for Teams. I can share it. And then when I do that, I can grab that hyperlink, right? I can go ahead and copy it like I did previously and put that on a page or somewhere else. But I have access to all that right from here. I can go back in and edit additional information. And now I've created this agent. So agents in SharePoint are a great way to hit the ground running with Microsoft 365 Copilot and to be able to leverage it against those repositories to unlock the data that's been captured as you've built up all this documentation and it's gotten harder and harder to find and get to what you need. Don't use search, use Copilot. Let Copilot do the searching and the synthesizing and presentation for you. So with that, I hope you found this helpful. It's a very easy way to hit the ground running. And until next time, have a great day. Take care. And as always, ciao.